I say let's go live. Alright, and with that we should be live. Hi everyone, hi, I'm Christian with Cryptic Hybrid, and this is a live stream where I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat, I'm actually a human, if you remember the Zoom stuff that happened. And this is a very special, somewhat spooky, super special interview with Jonas here, and we're gonna talk about his latest project, which is an amazing looking adventure game called PRIM. Jonas, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. Nice to be here.
Okay, so for everyone watching, there's a bit of a delay. So if there's a little bit of an awkward, pause, that's fine. It's internet. Next time when, Jonas is gonna be making PRIM 2 or anything else he wants to make, then I'm just gonna go to his place and I don't know if he has a dog or anything. I'm gonna play with his dog, if cat, if he has anything, and we're just gonna be live in the same room and we'll do an interview like that. But until then, this is a Zoom meeting, so that's those are the limitations. Now, going right in, tell me a little bit about PRIM. Just give us an elevator pitch for people who don't know anything about it.
Okay, how many floors have I got? 10, 12, 20? Okay, let's make it as fast as possible. PRIM is a hand-drawn 2D adventure game about Death's daughter. And it looks a bit like the animated films made by Tim Burton. It's all in black and white and kind of creepy, but it's also pretty cute and lovable. And it's basically about PRIM trying to move against her father's will because she wants to save the soul of a human boy. That's the story so far, but of course there will be more. That's it. Yeah, it's on Kickstarter right now. So if you're watching this and you haven't backed, click the link in the description below.
Yeah, that's right. There's a link to the Kickstarter page. There's a link to PRIM's Steam page if you want to get the demo there, because there's a demo version. You can also wishlist the game there. You can also go on itch.io to get the demo. But yeah, primarily Kickstarter. You can pledge. You can get the copy for a very low price, for just 16 euros, $20. So check that out. Now, I really liked how succinct you were with the description. Now, can you be succinct also talking about a little bit about yourself? Tell us about your work. What else have you been doing in terms of gaming projects or anything else in your lifetime?
Of course. I am not a learned game developer. I'm actually a teacher. I teach English, ethics, and philosophy here in Germany at a local high school. A couple of years ago, in 2016, I started making a long-time wish come true, because I've always been a huge fan of the point-and-click adventure genre, and I always dreamed of making such a game myself. And in 2016, I decided to join Adventure Jam. This is a yearly event happening on Game Jolt, where people are given 2 weeks to create something pointy and clicky. And I thought, why not? And I started researching game engines and came across Visionaire Studio. I think we're probably going to talk about, and I'm not going to dive too deep into this matter right now, but it enabled me, without any programming knowledge, to make a game. Of course, with the help of an artist. I worked with Quentin, a really talented pixel artist from Belgium, and created the Diary of a Roadie, my very first game, in 2 weeks. And it was such a great feeling of having finished something in just 2 weeks, and the feedback was cool. And I think we even made it to rank 2 in the end of this competition, which was great. And from then on, I wanted to participate in the event each year. And I made 2 more games for this game jam called Psychikai, which you played on your channel, and Door, which was the latest game jam game. Really cool.
Yeah, play that too, yeah.
And in 2018, when I finished Door, I decided that I wanted to make something big, something that feels like the LucasArts classics that I enjoyed so much as a kid. And so I brainstormed concepts, and I wanted to find a concept that could keep me motivated and happy for years to come, since I knew this is going to be something that is going to take very long. Then I came up with the story of Death's daughter, of PRIM. And I'm still really happy about that decision. And from then on, I started juggling ideas in my head, and in the end came up with a basic storyline and found it, which we are also talking about probably. That's where I am right now. I've made a demo together with my really talented team and published it a couple of weeks ago. And the feedback is amazing. And now we're on Kickstarter, and we got funded in 22 hours. And now we are reaching for stretch goals. That's the journey of making PRIM in a really fast way.
Oh, that was really fast. I think you practiced. Like you were in the mirror before, and like, okay, I have 2 minutes. Let's do this. It's like, go, script. I don't know if you have anything written down, but that was really good. That was really detailed and well structured. So tell me a bit more about, like, why did you choose this setting? Why death specifically? I mean, you said that you wanted something to keep you excited, and it's a little bit weird to go for the Grim Reaper and then make something based on that, because that's a pretty morbid concept in general. So why did you go for that one?
It might be morbid, but at the same time, it's also highly emotional, because, I mean, death is something that every human being has design. You can't escape it. You have to deal with death sometimes. And I think dealing with it in a humorous or rather optimistic way is a very healthy way of dealing with it, because dealing with it naturally is difficult. So the topic was of interest to me, as it is for every human being, I guess. And furthermore, I've always been a huge fan of Tim Burton, who I also mentioned before, because he also takes these really morbid topics or settings and displays them in a way where scary creatures become human or lovable. And this is something that I've seldomly noticed happening in games. And I wanted to create something like that. I wanted to create a mood that feels cozy yet scary. And the PRIM demo is the result of this
concept. So tell me,
line of thought.
How did you get to the daughter? Like, okay, so the Green Reaper, it's, a pretty, understood character. When someone's time is to die, then, the Green Reaper comes, they take their soul, it's fine. That's concept. So where does she come in? What is she? Like, where is her place in this whole life and death world? Is she alive? Was she alive at one point? Is she undead? Who's her mom? That's another thing. Like, okay, we know who her dad is, but who's PRIM's mom?
You know what? It's good that you have all these questions, and it's also good that I'm not going to answer them right now.
Okay, that's such a diplomatic thing. Seriously, like you did practice.
I can tell you a bit. No, I actually didn't. Actually, these questions basically automatically arise. When you look at her, she looks different from her dad. She is that, for example, or there are a couple of things that you can observe about her, and that are placed there by design, so that these questions naturally arise. And of course, we are going to answer most of them in the game. It's basically in my promo text, I write, it's about a girl finding her place in the world. And this is basically your question. Where's her place in that realm of the dead? And this is what the players are going to discover. The moment we meet her, she is the daughter of an overprotective helicopter dad who does everything to keep his daughter from getting into trouble, and is probably way too strict doing this. And I always liked this family dynamics thing. I always liked portraying relationships that are complex and that are that aren't that stereotypical. I mean, the overprotective dad might easily divulge into stereotypes, but I think we have to keep in mind that we can also portray him as a complex character that might surprise us in one way or the other. So yeah, I'm trying not to give away too much actually, but
No,
this fascinated me, this father-daughter dynamics.
And given the setting, it's really cool because, at least from my view, it's like the Green Reaper is supposed to be a scary, kind of soulless, right, uncaring entity, right? Because it's not necessarily, but it's a character that's grim, right? What's the main character? It's grim. It doesn't have empathy. It doesn't care. Like, it takes people away from their loved ones, from life and everything. But at the same time, he's a father, and that dynamic is like, okay, on one side he's death, on the other side he's supposed to be a caring father, and all of that means something totally different than the Green Reaper that we know from popular culture or writings or anything like that. So that's something that's really cool, and hopefully we'll get to see more of that, because I want to see the interaction between them. Is that something that's going to be throughout the game? Prim, your character, is going to be, trying to do whatever she wants, and her father is going to be putting obstacles throughout the game in front of her, or are they going to, kind of team up at one point?
Well, that's the situation in the beginning. In the beginning, Thanatos, her dad, is clearly posing an obstacle for the players to succeed, and they have to overcome it. But things will get a lot more complex after the first act. Everything that I'm giving away about the story right now is basically the first act of the game. Because, as you might guess, there are a couple of twists, and they are intended to have their full effect when they are unexpected. Because I think you cannot really expect all of them. This is why everything I can say is that these dynamics are going to change. She's not going to be the main obstacle all the time. And since we intend to portray a realistic relationship in a fantasy setting, it cannot always be black and white, but the game is black and white, of course. But right. The family dynamic isn't.
Right. So Prim lives in the realm of the dead, but from the beginning, you know that she wants to go into the land of the living. Has she been there at all? Has she experienced so that's going to be something totally different both for the player and for her as you play?
Right. As I've told you, she has the same nightmare each night, and it almost feels like a prophecy to her. She meets someone in that dream that she somehow finds familiar but has never met, as far as she can remember, and has never been to the land of the living. She only knows it from stories. Yet I can give some backstory, since this is something that I can already share. On the one hand, we have that realm of the dead, and I think the special and unique thing about my realm of the dead, as I created is that it, on the one hand, is inspired by Greek mythology, which means we are going to encounter characters and stories that are based on characters that appear in stories from Greek mythology, but partly they are very loosely based on them, partly the connection is clearer. And on the other hand, because when you play the demo, you wouldn't expect the setting to be ancient Greece, because it simply doesn't look like it. And this is also intentional, because I've transferred these gods and this underworld mythology and try to melt it together with the look and feel of Gothic fiction, which is set in the Victorian era, which very often happens in films of Tim Burton, for example, or in this kind of Gothic fiction in general. And this creates a unique combination of styles, I guess, and of stories you can tell. And the land of the living, on the other hand, is very similar to the world we live in, but it's not the same. The players are going to notice quite quickly it isn't the same world, but it's pretty similar. But this setting will also take place in the 19th century. Or at least it's similar to our 19th century. This is setting. Sometimes, as in games I really enjoy, like Monkey Island, for example, we have these modern elements that find their way into this history-based setting, like the basketball game that I've already shared with my followers, or things that are not supposed to be there. Yeah, I'm thinking of the grog machine in Monkey Island, which is clearly reference to modern life, but it somehow works in this quirky setting.
So with this Greek inspiration, are we gonna have like cute little Cerberus running around in the realm of the dead, and I don't know, Prim is gonna that would be, I mean, come on, if you're gonna take inspiration from Greek mythology, you gotta have a Cerberus in there, and they're so adorable. I mean, who wouldn't want a three-headed dog? I mean, who wouldn't want a dog? Three-headed dog, 3 times better. So you can't reveal, right? That's
and
the
if
thing.
we include it, I'll definitely have to link a Twitter account, Can You Pet the Dog? And video game makers can link them in their tweets, and sometimes they retweet, and then tweets they explode afterwards.
Yeah,
Can you pet that three-headed Cerberus dog? Great tweet.
I mean, it's great marketing, but also adorable. So, I mean, I understand this, but so are there going to be Greek-inspired gods throughout the land of the dead, realm of the dead, or does this inspiration stop at, let's say, mythology, but the creatures in Greek mythology, and not necessarily the pantheon of Olympus?
Both. The answer is a definite maybe. The characters are inspired, or some of the characters and their arcs are inspired by characters that actually appear in Greek mythology. Sometimes they look different because we came up with a completely different way of designing them. I mean, our Grim Reaper, from his looks alone, is a pretty traditional Grim Reaper. I know that he has some things that are special about him. Many people noticed the bones on his cape, for example. This is a very cool design decision that I haven't seen very often, or never, I guess. But many other characters that are based on characters from mythology are not easily recognized by their looks.
Okay, but what about the land of the living? What can we expect there in terms of characters? Anything that is going to be recognizable? Anything that's inspired by, I don't know, even 19th century real world?
What I've shared so far are 2 characters that are part of the land of the living. The first one is called Tristan, and he is, apart from Prim herself and her sidekick, the Spider Eye, that can also be controlled in the demo, Tristan will be the 3rd playable character in the game. And my newsletter subscribers already know, because I've shared him in the Prim Advent Calendar last December. What some people noticed about him is that he has some strange technical device tacked to his temple, and we don't know why, or you don't know why, I do. That's a detail about him that might raise more questions. Another character that I already gave away is the Mathgician. I am a fan of really bad puns. The ones who played the demo might know this. And he's basically a math magician.
Wait, 1 second. Are there bad puns? Let's be honest there. Come on. I mean, puns are supposed to be kind of corny, but come on. You don't have bad puns. It's fine. It's good. All puns are good. Puns, nice, good. More of them.
It was working voice actors, because I always had to tell them, okay, I know this pun is really bad, but the character you're playing knows that as well. So say the line as if you knew, okay, I'm going to make a bad pun right now. And the Mathgician is another one of my bad puns, but it's a character I really enjoy, and the feedback was great when I reviewed the character 2 weeks ago. It's a world where there are math magicians. Sounds like a cool world to me.
Sounds like the real world, kinda. I mean, if you look at math as magic, and you don't really understand like the high level stuff, and it's like it could be magic at this point. It's like I don't understand, the
Yeah.
advanced mathematics, so it might as well be magic to me.
You could
I
tell me
mean,
anything, and I would believe you.
well, that's another thing, but sure, at least math can prove some stuff, and like you can show me stuff and you can prove. But yeah, with magic, usually you don't get as much explanation. So when it comes to her moving to in between these two worlds, is it going to be something like, will she freely move from realm of the dead, land of the living, or is she gonna get stuck? Is she gonna travel a lot? Can you share any locations that we might know from the real world that are gonna be available in the game?
Difficult question to answer. The way how you get from one world to the other is about this particular way of traveling, because I would spoil the fun. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
The world we are going to encounter in the real world is a rural countryside place that is also a bit scary. A lot of trees, big forests. That's all I can say for now.
Okay. Let's put this in. Maybe you can answer this. Okay, so Basketball. Is this a game that's specific to the realm of the dead, or is it played in the land of the living too? Is it that divide,
no,
or
it's played in the realm of the dead?
Okay.
It's funny that you're asking, actually, because yesterday my last Kickstarter update was about basketball, so I'm totally prepared for this question, and this time I can actually say something. Basketball is very similar to American football, actually. Our background artist, Sasha, was so kind as to the rule. He came up with the concept of how it works. And you have to imagine it's like American football. So your aim is to carry a casket on your back, and you have to carry it across the opponent's baseline. That's the deal. So you have to make a touchdown with a casket. But of course, there is a real body in the casket. And there is the danger of the body dropping to the ground, and this would give the other team a point. So it's a bit morbid, of course, because the whole concept is morbid, and it's played mostly by strong demons or creatures with special abilities. And as you might know, one of our Kickstarter rewards was to become a basketball player on one of these cards. And I was totally blown away by the backers' response by backing the out of this reward, and
you can curse,
they were
it's
gone
fine.
in no time.
Everyone watching here is 16 or older.
Yeah,
We're
okay,
not.
shit.
Come on. Okay, good. Come on. It's 2021. We're adults here. Come on.
There are still some left because the high-priced tiers include this reward as well. So if you still want to get it, there are 4 spots left, I guess. But this will be really cool. This is a really cool way of including backers as demon creatures that somehow look like them. And this card game will be also playable in PRIM. So we aim to have a mini game which is basically about PRIM collecting cards along her way and thereby improving her deck of cards and being able to beat NPCs that she meets.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be part of the game world as well.
And will this specific deck building or card game, is this going to have an impact on the story somehow, or is it going to be kind of like a side thing that you can just play and enjoy and have fun, while not pointing and clicking to do missions?
Mm-hmm. In the best case, is both. In the best case, players will, from time to time, stop following the main storyline and just have fun playing for a while. We really do a good job designing. This is the aim, and but it will also have a certain significance for progressing in the story.
Mm-hmm. So after PRIM is released, 6 months in, are you going to announce Casket Ball, the card game, like The Witcher Gwent, something like that? Is that coming? Like you can say it now. Come on. Are you gonna be like,
I
okay,
don't know.
we released this
It
game.
is not planned.
Okay. I thought it'd be like, okay, so this is gonna be
Actually,
$15.
we're such a small team, and this is our first game, and our first mission is to finish that game, and everything that has to do with it, or merchandise or whatever, is secondary right now. As soon as we get the mission, go guys, make that game. And I think we understood that message by coming from our backers. It's our goal to make that game as quickly and as good as possible, and everything that doesn't have to do with the game will have to wait.
All right. So what message did you get from backers that completely bought out all the tiers that would have the little wooden casket and the doll? I mean, I would check this like, oh, come on, all sold out? What the hell? It's like you can't even buy it. It's amazing. It's like, what, 3 more weeks for the campaign and all are gone. Like, you can't get the casket anymore. You can't get the doll.
Yeah.
Any. So it's. I mean, people seem to really like the physical rewards that you've added.
Yeah, basically, I'm really happy with the decision to do stuff a little differently from many other campaigns, which are also very cool. But our decision was a little different in terms of, we decided to, if we have physical rewards, they have to be handcrafted by indie artists that are in some way related to us, or that we admire and collaborate with. And we came up with the idea of having a PRIM doll, because I know of PRIM for a long time already, and it was made by Iphigenia, who's also making the Kickstarter dolls years ago. And I always thought, if I'm ever going to do a crowdfunding campaign, then this is going to be one of the rewards, because it's so cool. And the coffins are actually made by a friend of mine who happens to be a very good carpenter. So I could basically acquire all the skills from people that I know personally. And the great thing about this is that these goods are so valuable because of this. I mean, every doll comes with an individual facial expression. No doll looks like the other. It's made for you. And this is, I think, part of what made it so attractive. On the other hand, there is also a bit of a downside for us, because we had to limit them very strictly. I think it was 80 or 90 pieces for each of these rewards. And looking back at the start of the campaign, we could probably have sold more, but we aren't able to, because we simply cannot produce more, because there are single individual people who are making these. So most naturally, our campaign somehow, it feels a bit empty now, because the physical rewards are gone.
I wouldn't say it's empty, but
about that too much.
It's a good problem to have. It's like, one weekend you're already sold out. That shows that people are really attracted to what you're offering, and that's great. I mean, you come later, you lose. That's the thing. It's like first come, first served. You should have subscribed to the newsletter and know that PRIM was launched. So yeah,
but that's not totally the feeling I want to give backers, but you're right. Yet I'm prepared to add some new rewards at some point. I've already introduced some add-ons. For example, you can, if you've pledged for a physical reward tier, you can add a USB stick containing the game right now, because many backers told me they would love to have it. So I introduced another reward regarding, you can become a part of the game. You can now become a part of the Book of the Dead. This is a book that Thanatos keeps on his bookshelf and includes all the creatures with their backstories, and you can come up with a cool alter ego for yourself and write a short backstory together with our writing team. And doing this can become a part of the game world. And I can also give away that there will be at least one more physical add-on or reward that I'm going to introduce later in the campaign, which will also have to do with the characters in game, and will also be something nice to own.
It's gonna be like a mini sai that you can, you can use it to shave it. It's like,
oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah, I mean, that would be
People
some really nice,
the Swiss Army scythe.
Yeah, why not? I mean, just add in, I don't know, a corkscrew, something like that, to make it, more practical. Because, it's like, you can rip, and then you can also unscrew something or whatever. It's like, it's a side with that's one part is the side and the other part is the screwdriver, because let's be honest, every point-and-click adventure game has some sort of screwdriver, based puzzle in it. It's like it's inevitable. And that's the silence. That's the weird part. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I was expecting some back and forth. It's fine.
What you said was cut off. I'm not sure if you really asked the question, but you proposed a really cool game design and marketing idea.
Yeah, and you were supposed to say, great, I'm going to give you like 10% of all.
I'm sorry.
Jesus.
Let's do it again. Oh, this is so great, Chris. Perfect idea. And I'm so happy that it was my idea and not yours.
So, can you at least mention, if you're not going to say right now what that new reward is going to be, can you say when it's going to be launched, when are you going to announce it?
Probably in the last third of the campaign. So we have 3 weeks to go. So in about 1 or 2, rather 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's the plan.
So for people who haven't gotten a physical reward yet for PRIM, you can wait a little bit and see what happens, or you can just pledge right now and you can upgrade your pledge later on. But the point is to pledge. That's basically the thing. So now I was thinking a bit about PRIM specifically and how she's a teenager, and that comes with a lot of drama and a lot of craziness and rebellion, and that's all normal and fine, and it can lead to some really bad things, if you're unsupervised and going to a totally different land. I was thinking, like, is she special in some sort of way in terms of the gameplay, the mechanics? Does she have any powers? Is she, does she have anything special that's going to make her, I don't know, different in terms of what she can do in the world around her? Maybe magic, I don't know, maybe she can kill people, I don't know. What does the daughter of the Grim Reaper have? Because the Grim Reaper has a pretty significant power. He takes life away. But her, anything there?
What I can tell you is, because it's also part of the blurb I'm giving away, is that Thanatos is afraid of letting her go to the land of the living, because he says when you are there, or as soon as you are there, you are going to develop strange powers that you are not ready for. But we don't know which powers he means yet. So there will be some sort of powers.
It's going to be love. She's going to develop love.
We don't know.
She's going to start singing.
Regarding your gameplay question, no, let's start with the character. I think PRIM as a character is fascinating by herself, because of course, she is a teenager, and especially when you listen to Maria's amazing voice acting, then it becomes clear that she's pretty sassy and pretty... she's sometimes or almost always in a bad mood, but she's a very, very likable and a very easily to relate to way, by also being caring and also being funny. She's actually not always sounding like a teenager, which is a good observation by many players. They say, okay, that line doesn't really fit to what a teenager would talk like. And this is also intentional and has to do with story. So she's not your typical teenager on the one hand, but on the other hand, she clearly is by, as you said, by rebelling against her father and by being sassy all the time. Regarding your gameplay question, the spider eye comes in, and the spider eye often offers a very interesting gameplay element. The demo ends with, and if you haven't played the demo yet, you have to shut your ears for the next minute or so.
Spoiler warning.
The demo ends with, yeah, right, a spider eye crawling into PRIM's eye socket, so ripping her eye out and crawling and replacing it with himself. And this will be one part of a game mechanic that will have to do with the player can decide, is Spider Eye inside PRIM's eye socket? And if he is, then PRIM is able to see things that she normally wouldn't see. Or that Spider-Eye crawls out again, and as portrayed in the demo, will be able to reach certain places that Prim is not able to reach, simply because he can climb well and he's very tiny. There are more game mechanics related to this character, but they are a secret.
Okay, can you reveal anything about what Tristan can do compared to Prim? What is he going to bring to the table in terms of abilities that are different than Prim's?
He's a normal, totally regular human being. So he doesn't come with any special abilities. And the switching between characters is rather a storytelling device and not so much of a gameplay device. Later in the game, it becomes interesting gameplay-wise, since, of course, both worlds, world of the living, realm of the dead, are connected in a specific way that we all know. When one person dies in the one world, he or she might appear in the other world as something else, maybe. And later in the game, this connection of the worlds will become important. This is the interesting gameplay element when switching between living and dead characters, let's say it like this. Tristan is interesting because his character is so different. He has a very long and painful backstory to him, and his story shaped him in a certain way. So he's a modular teenager. He's also a very broken soul, and this is what makes him not always as reliable to the players as they might expect. And this is everything I can say about it now.
Okay, so he's gonna be a disappointment at crucial times. Maybe. Well, we'll see. Okay, I get it. You can't reveal more. Tell me, any other mini games in addition to Basketball that you're thinking of adding to Prim?
Yeah, it depends a little how you define mini games. If you are perfectly precise, then we have one mini game in the demo already, which is finding the right kind of plant in a book on herbology on Prim's table. So if you define this as mini game, we have a couple of those, because there's always a scroll to look at or a code to crack in some way. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So any related to,
but they are
obviously the
Cerberus.
Cerberus.
Studied puzzle design.
Sorry.
Yeah, maybe. I really took a lot of time designing the puzzles and making sure that puzzle structures and puzzle types don't become too repetitive. I know that there are some puzzles that always work well in adventure games, but an adventure game solely based on inventory puzzles or environment puzzles or grab and distract puzzles like the one with the radio in the demo would be boring. And so some puzzles require other skills.
Okay. Like a spider eye or eye spider? I don't know what that is. You know what? I'm very suspicious of that thing.
Spider eye.
Spider eye. Yeah, I'm very suspicious of that thing. I really think, I don't know. I get you can't, reveal more. I'm suspicious of it because how did it get in Prim's room? It's very suspicious. It seems like it was sent there by someone, and I'm thinking that maybe that's going to be one of the twists that later you're going to see that maybe that eye is not so good and it was playing you or trying to lead you somewhere. I don't know, but we'll have to see for that. But I'm suspicious of that spider eye. I mean, I know people say it's cute, and it is cute. It's pretty adorable, because spiders are, mixed feelings about spiders in general for people. That's really cute, but I really think there's something wrong with it. I don't know. It freaks me out a little bit in a weird way. But that's just me.
It's so cool, actually, that we seem to create a game where people can actually theorize about it really lengthily and really could try to come up with crazy conspiracy theories about the characters and their relationships. If we really do, as you say, and make Spidey go evil at some point, many people are going to be pissed off probably because he's definitely a favorite. And I also met a lot of people who said, I'm afraid of spiders or I hate spiders, but this one is adorable.
Well, it is adorable. I'm just thinking it's not necessarily evil. I'm thinking it was sent there in order to lead Prim on a specific path that would make her vulnerable to the real evil that wants her in a specific, way. That's my theory on it. That's my conspiracy theory on Prim. That that the
You
spider
will
eye is
definitely
a
have to
tool.
rewatch this video in 2 years, and then you are going to know if you were right or not.
So since we have to go quite fast because there's other engagements, which is fine. Tell me a little bit about. So you mentioned the engine. This is Visionaire that you're using. So you just went for something that you know of, that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I've tried a couple of other engines. I've tried making a game in Adventure Game Studio, which is also very cool and which also worked well. But in the end, I think it was because Visionaire Studio comes from Germany, where I live, and they offer really good support in German. I mean, English is not a problem for me, but I think it just made things feel a bit more comfortable. And in the end, I'm quite happy with the decision, since what I can do, and Visionaire is quite intuitive. And if you need programming, there's always somebody who can help you out. Or, I mean, if you do it for a couple of years, you get a feeling for the stuff that you need. And but thanks to the Kickstarter campaign, I'm also hopefully be able to get some help when I'm basically stuck or at the end of my personal knowledge about programming. Until this point, it has worked very well. There are some limitations and some things that we still might to refine or work on. For example, when it comes to the Linux version of Prim, there are some issues concerning the full screen mode, which have to do with Visionaire and its limitations so far. But the team, as far as I know, they work pretty hard on fixing those issues. And I have to admit, most Linux players are so thankful that there is a Linux build. And so they don't really complain. They are just happy that they can play the game. But this is a process, and we're trying our best to improve it each week. We're working on it. And I'm still really happy with the decision to go with Visionaire.
Now, something that, for people who've played the demo, I mean, pretty much everything's lovely. Everything comes together really nicely. It's such a polished experience. I don't have to praise you because you've probably got a lot of praise already. It's one of the most polished experiences that you're gonna get out of a game that's not released yet. It's I don't know, like, it's German engineering. That's it.
Thank you
it's
so
like
much.
it's perfectionism. It's like it really is. Everything works so well. And one of the elements, of course, is the audio, which stands out, I think. The voiceover is also really sweet. I don't know how you found the person who voices Prim, but she's like spot on. Like, it's like, it's that type of voice where you immediately say, yeah, that's the right voice for this character. Like, she sounds right with this. So that was lovely. Tell me a little bit more about the music, the themes they're gonna have. Is it something that's gonna be different from, it's gonna be a different theme for the Land of the Dead and the Realm of the Dead and the Land of the Living? Is it going to be something more colorful, anything more lively, or like comedic spooky all the time?
At first, I have to give a big shout out to our amazing composer, Brian Atkinson, who composed all the big orchestral stuff for Prim so far. And when we started create a concept of what's the track going to sound like, the direction that I wanted to go in most naturally, since I wanted to create a mood similar to the films of Tim Burton, was make it something like Danny Elfman, who's basically Tim Burton's regular composer. And this means we need a choir, or we need a single woman singing all notes all the time. And he even invited a friend of his over before COVID, of course, and she gave a great performance on singing the main theme that is audible in the menu. And he came up with exactly the mood that I wanted to have. Yet there are exceptions regarding the soundtrack. People who played the demo know that there is one track in the demo that is particularly funky and danceable, which is, by the way, the only track that I myself recorded. I'm also a musician. I've been playing in rock band for about 16 years, but due to the current situation, we haven't played any gigs or haven't even rehearsed in a while, because our rehearsal space is clear and by a camera right now. So I was able to record a track, and I desperately wanted to do one as well, but I wouldn't be able to do all the music because the other stuff I do is simply too time consuming. This is why I'm really happy to have probably the best composer I've ever met in person with Brian. And he's also made the music for Sidekick High and Door, actually. And he's so versatile. You can give him any genre, any kind of inspiration, and he will turn it into something unique. Even though these tracks somehow have this Elfmanish touch to them, they are still very unique, and the themes he writes are very easily recognized. So he's a genius, in my opinion. And probably from time to time, I'm going to do something too, if I can, because I simply enjoy doing stuff and playing my guitar from time to time. And these will probably be the tracks that are out of the ordinary when it comes to the PRIM soundtrack, which will also be, which also is one of the rewards on our Kickstarter page.
Yeah, I mean, that's always nice to have, because I was reading, unrelated, I was reading something. You know how people say stupid things on Twitter? Probably because they want engagement and stuff like that. It was something like someone, a relatively young person, let's say. And she was saying something like, if you're older than 11 and you're listening to game soundtrack like it's real music, then there's something wrong with you, something like that. And I'm like, wait, there's so many game soundtracks that sound amazing. And a lot of people want, the soundtrack to be separate, or they can have it downloaded and listen it outside of the game. It's like, what's wrong with you? It's like, yes, that's real music. How is that not real music? Have you heard? Anyway, it's, they probably wanted, people to attack them so they get engagement. But it's a really good soundtrack is something that, it's not only a must. It's just it completes the game and the experience. And I think in the demo, at least, everything worked out, flawlessly in terms of, how the music
Did you know, Chris, that we have an adventure game soundtrack playlist on PRIM's YouTube channel? Mm-hmm. I've created it with my Twitter followers, and from time to time it's growing a little. So if you want to spend the whole evening listening to adventure game soundtracks, then you can visit our YouTube channel and just click on that playlist.
So tell me a bit more about your contribution to the music. In the full release, are we gonna have like the possibility, just putting it out there, I'm not sure, to have the Grim Reaper dance to like 5-6 different tracks, funky, electronic, somewhat disco tracks, where you just turn the radio to a different station and there's some different music on and he's just gonna dance the night away? Is that gonna, because that sounds pretty
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a joke that really gets old very quickly. I loved having it in the demo because it's always the point in the demo where all streamers and Let's Players, YouTubers, they dance. Every time they watch Thanatos dance, they dance as well. And this is really cool. And it's definitely one of the highlights of the demo. I'm not intending to making it a running gag right now. Maybe there will be some references to it, but I'm not planning this particular joke to continue.
Right.
But who knows?
Yeah. You know what? When Tristan dies, spoiler, that's my theory, I don't know, and he comes to see, the Reaper, and he's gonna be like, okay, listen to this, and they're gonna bond because they like the same music, probably. That's just my theory. That's probably gonna happen. It's gonna be all weird because Tristan likes PRIM, and the Reaper is very protective of the daughter. It's it's a whole thing. I'm just saying, this is all conspiracy theory, but still. I like to speculate about games. What can I say? It's fun.
Very interesting.
It's a fun thing, and it's really cool because with the demo you get a little bit of a taste of the world, and until you play the full release, you can speculate, you can think of the possibilities, and usually, in my experience at least, the end result is even better than what you imagine. So that's something that's always exciting to see. The way I think is the way I think.
Except for Game of Thrones, that's the opposite.
You know what? I'm gonna probably get crap for this, but I watched the first episode, and when I don't remember the name of the kid, when he fell, I was like, okay, who wrote this? Did a
Bran.
14? No, I really don't. Probably. I'm just saying I don't know anything about Game of Thrones. I just watched it because everyone was talking about it, and when I saw that, I thought it was such a childish, act to have the boy fall and just go in a coma, conveniently in a coma. It was like, oh, this is... I thought it was really bad writing, and I'm probably going to get shit. Oh my, George R. R. Martin is a genius and whatever. Like, I don't care. I did not like that. If you told me that scene was written by a 14-year-old boy, I would be like, that makes sense. But it was like a bearded dude with, whatever. It's like, okay. I mean, I'm not saying anything about the whole series, right? Because I have, or the books, because I haven't read them. But that scene specifically put me off so much that I didn't watch any Game of Thrones after that. You're like, I'm good. It's fine.
Yeah. I think episode 1 is a tough entry. It's a tough start for a series. But in my opinion, it's really, really great in the seasons to come. But the last 3 seasons were, at least to me and many others I know, pretty disappointing.
I'm the last one. I know
let's
a lot of people
Game
were...
of Thrones too much.
I mean, it's we're gonna start a podcast after this. In 2 months, Jonas and I are gonna start a
Chris
podcast.
and Jonas talk Game of Thrones all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna watch together because for me it's gonna be the first time, and you know it, and you know what? I'm gonna suspect that you already read the books. Maybe. No, you haven't? Okay, that's fine. We're gonna make it the whole thing. We're gonna read the books first, and then we're gonna watch the series together. It's gonna be episode by episode, and we're gonna do a podcast. It's I don't know. We're gonna find a way. The Game of Thrones.
Can we do this in 2023, please?
Whenever you want to start. Although it's gonna be it's
when
fine.
I'm going to have time.
Sure, that's cool. Gonna be great.
Deal.
Speaking of time, since we're short on it, but again, I'm very thankful that you came on. It's I know time is valuable, and I thank you for being here. Tell me a little bit about the release plans. So PC, Windows, Mac, Linux, anything else? Because it does say that it's a one-click interface, and I'm thinking, that sounds like something that would work on other platforms, mobile, tablets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we cannot promise anything regarding these ports. Since it's our first full-length title and we're such a small team, we are going to stick with these 3 basic platforms for now until release, because the challenge to release them or to release PRIM on these platforms is big enough of a challenge. If the release goes successfully and we start discussing other options, then of course these might be options, but I can't promise anything right now. I can promise we are going to make the game for these 3 platforms, and from then on we'll keep going and see where our journey takes us. Of course, it would be really cool to steer PRIM with the tip of a finger, and many of my friends, they play adventure games exclusively on their iPads or on their mobile devices. So this is I
know. You know what? I'm sorry. I can't be on that side. I disavow. I mean, okay, playing games on a tablet, that's fine. I'm not, one of the, people who say that, you have to play on this platform. If you want to play games, play on whatever platform you want. I don't care. But only on tablets? Come on. It's like mouse. Point and click. You have to point. Come on.
Yeah, it's point and click. Yeah, right. This is why we wanted to focus on point and click. We make game classical, and therefore we also want to transport this classical feeling by the way you control it. And the way to go is pointing and clicking here with the mouse.
Mm-hmm. Now, any control support, anything like that planned for the full release, or you're not thinking of it just yet?
Not yet. It might need to be reworked to yeah, not yet. It's not planned yet. But except for you, actually, no one has ever asked.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm known to be a person who loves consoles, so it's a joke. I'm not. I don't have any consoles. I've never had like any, except like something that was anyway like a very old Chinese stuff. But my point always with games is that ideally I would like every game to be on as many platforms as possible, so as many people as possible can experience that game. Right, because if I like a game, I want someone who plays it on, on a tablet, or someone who plays on, an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Switch or whatever. I want all of them to be able to experience the same thing that I am. But yeah, it depends on obviously the UI, the mechanics, and everything. Not everything works on every platform and with every control method. But it's nice, it's nice to have adventure games on consoles too, if possible.
Of course. My main argument is not that I don't like the other platforms and the way they are functioning. Actually, this can be pretty cool for an adventure game as well. But we want to keep things small and controllable for us. And this is one of the decisions we made. We want to keep the scope as small as possible so we can actually deliver a game. And from then on, we'll see where it will take us.
So right now, with the campaign, you've surpassed the initial goal. You've reached 2 stretch goals. Right now, the next one is the goal to unlock a voice over for the whole all of the characters. Right? That's the goal right now, and I think you're gonna hit it and surpass it. Can you tease what the next stretch goal would be?
If you look really clearly at this page, then you already know. Have you done this?
I mean, it's something about languages, but I'm not, English is not my first language. What can I say? I can't read. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I've already said this in an interview yesterday, or the day before yesterday, actually. So the next stretch goal after the voice acting stretch goal is going to be the localization stretch goal. And if we hit this, then we are going to translate all the texts in the demo to all the languages, all 7 languages that already exist in the demo. This is the aim.
All right, so let's wrap it up.
And the other stretch goals remain hidden until we reach the voice acting stretch goal.
I mean, console version at 100,000 euros. Console versions. That's going to be probably a thing. I don't know. A 4th playable character at 200,000 euros. I don't know. Just speculating. Tell me any game that you're excited for. You're probably not playing much right now because you're super busy. But anything that you're excited for, coming this year, any genre.
I would love to play so many games, actually, because the cool thing about that adventure game scene is that we all are so supportive of each other, and it feels like one big group of friends, actually. And so many of my online friends are making games that I want to play in the future. It would be impossible to point one out or two. So if you... Yeah, right. If you are really interested in finding out about cool upcoming adventure games, I highly recommend you out there, because I know you, Chris, have a Twitter account already. You check the adventure game community on Twitter, because it's amazing. There's a hashtag called Adventure Game Friday, and each Friday you are given the choice between maybe even hundreds of cool upcoming or already released adventure games. Go check them out. Most of them are incredibly amazing and a product of love and passion.
Yeah, because adventure games are not going to bring in 100 million copies sold, so they have to be labors of love. I mean, it's good that they're profitable, but they're not going to be like, GTA level profitable. But that's fine, niche. We like our niche. It's fine. Now, let's wrap it up. Tell me, where can people find you? Where do you want them to go? The Kickstarter campaign, Twitter, Facebook, any social media, account that you have. Just plug it. Let's go.
It's a platform of your choice. Of course, the Kickstarter campaign, at least until March 18th, should be maybe the first choice. This is how long the campaign is going to run. And of course, you can join us on Twitter. This is the platform where I am most active and post daily. And if you want to keep, if you want me to keep you in the loop, this is one of the easiest ways. Or you pledge on Kickstarter, then you are going to receive regular updates as well. I am writing an update every 48 hours now. So these might be the obvious choices, but you can, of course, also turn to Instagram, where we're also called PRIM Adventure. And then you will see my crappy stories that I post that really look very cheaply produced, but might be fun sometimes. This is a different type of content you have to produce. So it's also fun to dive into this. And there's Facebook as well. You can send me a friend request if you are friendly, that I might accept it and chat with you. So just find with.
Yeah, just be nice and ask nicely, and you'll be fine. So on Facebook, what PRIM game? What's the account name?
Yeah, it's always PRIM Adventure.
Okay, PRIM Adventure. Now, for me, what can I say? Because I have a few plugs too, of course. Jonas knows because he's subscribed to all my stuff, right? Yes. At Cryptic Hybrid on Twitter, youtube.com/cryptichybrid, bitch.com/cryptichybrid. I mean, the more people I reach, the better it is for every game that I cover. So any support is super appreciated. Now, in terms of a few games that I want to quick thing, in addition to PRIM, definitely go to the Kickstarter campaign, link in the description. Support the game however you can. Again, a copy is just 16 euros, $20. It's really not expensive, and the game looks great. I mean, Jonas has experience. Like, he's showing that he can deliver finished projects. So and I definitely recommend you check out his game jam titles too. Other than that, some friendly plugs. Plot of the Druid. It's a game that I'm kind of promoting a little bit. I'm helping Akir with it. They're gonna have a Kickstarter too, so that's coming. But of course, PRIM first. PRIM has the Kickstarter now. PRIM first. Follow it there and pledge. And on the 23rd, in less than a month, Inspector Waffles from Goloso Games is coming up, and that's one of the games that I'm really excited for. And it's such a great thing to see, because he's been working on the game for a long time, and it's finally coming. And it's gonna be. I mean, I'm not the biggest cat person, and I can't wait to play this game because it's a cat detective and it's lovely pixel art. So yeah, definitely check that out. Any other closing thoughts?
You've mentioned really great examples. I'm really looking forward to the games you've mentioned and to their Kickstarter campaigns or launches. We live in exciting times for adventure game fans, actually.
Yeah, we do. It's you know what? It's the idea of that, the golden age. No, the golden age is still coming. It's not even there yet. We're not, the best is yet to come when it comes to adventure games. There's more people, coming in and developing. If you go to the Adventure Game Studio forum, you're gonna see so many titles that are in development with that specific engine alone. It's crazy. It's like if I played only adventure games, I would have something to play every week, no problem. No issue to find new stuff if you're actually interested in the genre, which is it's not Fortnite. It's better. This is gonna be like the crap. Like, it's not this. This dumbass said that adventure games are better than Fortnite. Fortnite, which has 100 million players, like. Okay. All right. So thanks, Jones, for being here. I know you have to go, so thank you so much for your time. For everyone watching, again, check out the links in the description below if you want to support, follow PRIM, and yeah, other than that, what? Have an awesome day and see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, Chris, for inviting me over. It was a great experience to be here. Best of luck to you for your videos.
Yeah,
I always enjoy watching them.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. And yeah,